Welcome to Riz Extra. Thanks for joining us for this. We're speaking with Ambassador Charles, or Chaz Freeman, who was handpicked to head the National Intelligence Council but had to step down after pressure from the pro-Israel lobby. He's been speaking about it in public, and we're glad to have you here for the Riz Extra segment, sir.
Glad to be here.
I guess one of the biggest questions is what spurred your decision to go public with the reasons to withdraw that nomination that after the pressure became obvious?
Well, I was deeply insulted by the lies and the defamation of character that they attempted to achieve. I know the custom has been to walk the plank stoically, silently jump over the side and be devoured by the sharks, but that's not my nature.
What do you think is? Do you think there's a reluctance in general to discuss the pro-Israel lobbies and Israel in general in the U.S. Because of the way the U.S. foreign policy is positioned?
I think there's generally a reluctance to discuss these issues because they immediately evoke quite thuggish behavior by people intended to intimidate you, and there's always the prospect that you will be charged with anti-Semitism, which is not something that one enjoys being charged with. I think it's a serious charge.
What do you think of the effort there is in some quarters to develop an alternative pro-Israel lobby that might be a bit more conciliatory, a little more balanced, according to some?
Well, I think you're referring to J Street, and I'm very, very encouraged by that. I believe they have 100,000 members. I think this episode, my ordeal, if you will, is likely to aid them because it outraged quite a number of strong supporters of Israel who don't believe that refraining from criticism of Israeli policy is support for Israel, but quite the contrary. It's an act of enablement, much as one can enable someone to pursue an addiction.
Of course, in the region, which you know very well, we've got Benjamin Netanyahu set to become Prime Minister and of Israel, and Avigdor Lieberman as his Foreign Minister. The repercussions in Gaza are still being felt. How do you think the future is going to shape up for potential peace prospects in the Middle East?
Well, on the first instance, I believe that this government, which espouses values which are very alien to those of the United States and the American people and the American Jewish community, is going to find itself quite seriously at odds with the United States on a number of fronts. So, in a sense, quite aside from what I think is the opening for greater debate here, the underlying issues will force a discussion which has heretofore been absent.
To what extent do you think your situation becoming visible, so visible, might help that? And how do you think the Obama administration should perhaps approach its relationship with Israel then?
Well, in my view, the only way that Israel can hope to make progress toward peace is with a very strong bit of tough love from the United States. That was what brought about the Camp David Accords in 1979, which to this day remain the only effective outreach by Israel. Menachem Begin was dragged kicking and screaming into those accords, and I think we need to remember that. He did not, in the end, understand the interests of his own country, which has benefited greatly from the normalization of relations with Egypt and ultimately Jordan.
What role is there, do you think, for the Arab countries to play now in taking the next steps in changing the relationship between Israel and the U.S.?
There is the 2002 peace initiative initiated by Abdullah bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, the King of Saudi Arabia, at Beirut. This is essentially a reward, an incentive for Israel to work out things with the Palestinians on a mutually agreeable basis. If such a process does begin, I would expect that there would be a requirement for strong support from Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Syria and other countries in the Arab world who have an important role to play.
Ambassador, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're listening there to Ambassador Charles, or Chaz Freeman, who was handpicked to head the National Intelligence Council and stepped down after pressure from the pro-Israeli lobbies, talking about the reasons behind that. Glad you could join us for There Is Extra. We'll see you next time.